Below the Bar podcast is not meant to be taken as legal advice. It is purely used for entertainment purposes. Corbin and I are not attorneys. In fact, we haven't even graduated law school yet.
We don't even know if we're going to graduate.
We don't even know if we're going to graduate. That's scary. So if you have any legal concerns, please, I urge you guys to seek an actual attorney. With that being said, I hope you enjoy this episode, and that's all I have to say. Hey guys, welcome back to Below the Bar podcast. My name is Drew. With me, as always, is my dude,
Corbin.
And we hope you like Shakespeare because this one's a pretty tough case to read.
It's an interesting one. Yeah. Whoever wrote the opinion, I forget what his name was.
Yeah, I can't. I thought it was Cardozo, but it wasn't.
It's not?
No.
Okay. But yeah, whoever wrote this opinion, he just...
Carlin.
That's it, yeah.
Carlin.
He just loved to write and loved, I think, to hear himself write. So hear people read his stories.
The most flowery language I've ever seen
For
in
real.
in a court opinion.
It's crazy. But yeah, but before that, we haven't seen each other in a week.
Yeah.
I think we haven't gotten together outside of podcasting.
Yeah, we used to, and it kind of sucks, because we used to be able to hang out throughout the week, but with classes starting and everything, it's just been kind of,
Yeah, how have classes been going?
Dude, I have this one. I'm not going to say the name of it because I don't want the professor to hear. It's not fun. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
I'll just keep it.
No, I feel that.
Yeah.
Most of my classes so far haven't been bad, but that's probably on account of the fact that I haven't been able to go to any of them.
Wait, what? Why?
Literally, my computer broke Monday morning as I'm getting ready to get on for class.
It's convenient.
To the point that I could still kind of see the screen, but not really. So, I suffered through that class. I shut my laptop, and then I was like, well, I'm going to need a new laptop. So I opened it back up, and the screen's just destroyed. Just wiring in the screen broke. So I had to buy an entirely new computer. I went to Best Buy. They didn't have any computers. They were out.
Of computers at Best Buy?
Yeah. I could get, a crappy laptop for a couple $100 if I wanted to.
You want to name any companies that make crappy laptops?
No. I don't want to get in trouble. but literally, yeah, it was they had a couple just kind of shitty, to be honest, laptops for a couple $100. They were like, you could go home with this, or we could get them shipped to you. And I was like, how can Best Buy be out of computers?
Yeah.
But so they shipped
This really isn't the Best Buy, is it?
Yeah, so I get it. I got it delivered on Friday, which is the only day of the week that I don't have class.
Of course.
So I just had to email my professors and be like, hey, I just can't this week.
They're going to need you to get a doctor's note from Best Buy.
For my computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that sucks, man.
So far classes have been great.
No
work. No, I've been doing side work for them just to keep up, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure all your professors understand there's nothing you can really do about it.
Yeah, they were all pretty understanding. They just basically said, if you need anything, reach out. So, But yeah, so that's how our lives have been going. I hope everybody else's first week of classes have been going better than mine, but
mine's been very boring. My life's been boring this past week. Usually I have something exciting to talk about, but I have nothing this week.
Yeah.
I'm doing laundry today.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I looked at a house this week just because...
You're still looking?
Yeah. My lease is up in May, so I'm basically trying to decide whether we're moving to a house or whether we're going to find somewhere else and rent. I'm just kind of sick of the whole renting thing. So
you can do one of those... live in the what are those things, the storage containers?
Oh yeah, those things that you can buy at Home Depot for is that what you're talking about?
No, they have the people took those God, what are they called, man? I have it's like the train cars that people made houses out of.
Okay.
The minimalist stuff. Yeah.
I've seen people do those with they buy a shed from Home Depot and then they just turn it into a mini house.
Live in that. Yeah.
That's not my life.
That's ridiculous.
I cannot be a minimalist. I
No.
have to have as many things that have no purpose in my apartment as possible.
Yeah, I was telling Paige the other day, I was like, I can't wait for spring cleaning because I'm throwing 90% of what we have.
Yeah.
I should donate some of it, when I can, but
Right.
the vast majority of it's like it's in the basement. It's been down there for 2 years. We don't even know it exists.
Right.
Why are we moving this stuff around?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm just ready to just have a new place, to be honest, get out of where I'm at and go from there, I guess.
Yeah. Like we have 3 cats. Why do we need 3 cats?
Yeah, just donate 2 of them.
I'm kidding. I love all of our cats. They're all fantastic.
But the dog.
The dog's got it.
No. But all right. Yeah, I guess that's probably enough about our lives. You guys are probably like, okay, this isn't what we're talking about. But
yeah, but no, so this is Cordas v. Peerless Transportation. It's another torts case. I know we do a lot of torts in criminal law cases, but they just happen to be the most
they're the
exciting
strangest.
cases. Yeah.
They're the cases where the weird things really happen.
Yeah. Not much. I mean, you have it. We talked about spite fences, but there's not too much crazy stuff going on in property
Right.
law. That's
or Harrier jets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, you have it. You had it's isolated.
but yeah. Cordas versus
Peerless Transportation.
Peerless Transportation.
Yeah, like I said, this is very written in a very Shakespearean manner. So it's a difficult case to read, and that's actually a big part of why we wanted to do this episode. Is because I don't know if you remember reading this in law school.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's horrible.
Yeah. And I know you guys know what Quimby is. Quimby is zero help for this case.
Yeah.
This case is just, you have to basically break it down sentence by sentence the whole way through the entire thing.
I mean, I'm sure there's definitely some people who are more like English majors or something that'll be able to like, oh,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, nerds, but
nerds.
no, I'm just kidding, guys.
But for us, common folk,
Yeah.
I just it was very
civilians.
Yeah, civilians.
So.
That's the 2 types of people in this world. It's civilians and English
And nerds.
and nerds. Civilians and nerds. Okay, so we'll get into it.
Yeah. So,
go ahead.
yeah, this case, I guess do we just want to jump in with the facts, or we can kind of talk about it? Like
It's a negligence case.
Yeah, I was going to say, we talked towards its negligence. So there are like 4 parts to negligence. So there's the duty, then there's the breach of that duty, and then there's causation, and there's 2 parts of causation, actual and proximate. We kind of talked about proximate cause with Paul's graph.
Yeah.
Whenever we talked about
I don't know why I said yeah. It
yes,
came out.
we did do that.
It was very abrupt. I'm sorry, guys.
But yeah, we kind of talked about that with Paul's graph and the zone of danger and stuff like that. But then there's the last part of negligence is the injury, which is caused by the breach of duty.
Yes.
That's kind of like a quick rundown of what you need for a negligence case.
Yeah, and that's this week's episode, guys. So we'll see you.
Wrap it up.
Sure.
But but yeah, so now that we know that it's a negligence case, I can kind of break down the facts if that works for you. This happened in New York City, I believe in the late 30s, because the actual trial was in the early 40s, 41, I believe.
Yeah.
But so basically what happened was there was this guy in an alleyway in New York City.
Which is not where you want to be.
Yeah, you just don't go there.
Yeah.
But he did, and then 2 guys jumped him. And I don't really even know what they took, but whenever they were leaving, it must have been important because the guy chased after them.
And they were armed, too.
They were armed,
That's
yeah.
bold. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into some of the quotes that are used where you'll learn more about these people. They're just strange. But they were armed, they took his stuff, and then he chased them. And while he was chasing them, at least one of them, maybe 2,
I think
maybe
they
both
did
of them.
split up. They split
Okay.
up, and he chased the one with the gun, which is
wild.
wild.
Yeah, so the one with the gun hops in a taxi cab, and he takes his gun and he tells the driver to go. So the driver starts driving. The driver makes it about 15 feet before he decides to jump out of the taxi, which, again, fair.
Yeah.
He has a gun to him.
A lot of brave people. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, you jump out of a taxi after going 15 feet, you probably haven't built up that much speed.
Yeah,
He's just going to be like,
He's just going to get out.
I'm
Like,
going to kill you because
Right.
you're trying to run away. Yeah.
But so this guy just does movie scene, jumps out, barrel rolls out of this taxi, and ghost rides the taxi, and it goes past, like it goes up onto the sidewalk and goes past a woman and her 2 kids.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit them.
No.
It just goes past them. And then she sues the taxi company.
Peerless transportation.
Yeah. The woman that almost got hit by the car without a driver sues the taxi company for negligence.
Sure.
And
I get that. That makes sense. Yeah.
And then I know you were saying that her husband was also there.
He wasn't
he wasn't
at the
there,
scene,
yeah.
but he was a named plaintiff. I think he's the one that filed the claim in the first place, and I would imagine that's because it was
The 30s,
the 30s, and women's rights weren't So I believe
it's crazy to me, but I guess for the time
the man had to be the one to bring forth the suit,
right?
But this whole thing's just bananas from the taxi driver's point of view. This guy's so he was trying to pick someone up already, and then this uninvited guest just jumps into the back of his cab
with a gun.
He points a gun at him, says drive. By this time there's a crowd of people chasing the cab yelling stop thief, right? So then he just jumps out. And apparently the mugger leapt out too, because whenever they approached the wreckage, there was nobody in the car. And they did find the mugger in the cellar of a hospital.
Right, yeah.
Where they apprehended him.
It's funny to me that they use the term wreckage, because then, again, as we said, this guy got about 15 feet before he jumped out. So probably not a ton of speed.
Yeah.
I don't imagine it did a ton of damage to whatever
especially in the 30s. How much horsepower did a car
have? Right. It's not going 0 to 60 in 15 feet.
What do you think what do you think a good barometer of in the 30s this car has 12 horsepower,
right?
And goes 0 to 60 and it doesn't even hit 60.
It goes 0 to 12.
And this isn't 1830 though, so I'd imagine. I don't know. I think
1930.
I'm a really bad judge at what technology was in different decades.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't keep up with that.
No.
I'm picturing the Model Ts,
Wait, that horn?
Yeah, and it has the big ass wheels, and it's just kind of almost bouncing up and down the road.
Everybody's wearing a monocle and a top hat.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm picturing. But again, my brain has no idea what the 1930s were like.
I think that's accurate.
So.
Yeah. Google 1930s. Talk to someone from the 30s. I guarantee you they still have a collection of monocles and top hats that they
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this woman sues, or her husband sues, and basically the court comes down to, well, can we hold this taxi driver liable for negligence whenever he had a gun to him?
Right,
And basically, the court goes on to say, no, you can't expect people to act as a reasonable person whenever they're put into an emergency situation.
And that's the focal point of this case, is negligence in an emergency situation.
But they say it in such a long-winded, no purpose way.
We'll get to some of the quotes
which we
here.
Can talk about.
But I do want to just kind of go through the court's analysis in plain English, though. So there was a few key citations the court made in their opinion, and they were mentioning how negligence has been variously defined, but the common law legal acceptation. It's an interesting. Legal acceptation is the failure to exercise that care and caution which a reasonable and prudent person ordinarily would exercise under like conditions and circumstances, which that's going to be key coming up here.
Right.
So the test of actionable negligence is what reasonably prudent men would have done under the same circumstances. So actionable negligence must be predicated upon a breach of duty to the plaintiff, and negligence is not absolute or intrinsic, but is always relevant to some circumstances of time, place, and person.
Right.
And these are all key things that we plucked out because they were very relevant to how this court ultimately ruled. The plaintiff's attorney, the Cordas's attorney argues that while the cab driver was acting in an emergency situation by jumping out from the car, this does not preclude recovery for the plaintiffs. Basically, what he's arguing is it doesn't matter that he was acting in this, emergency situation. He was still negligent, and therefore,
yeah, which is insane to me that anybody can be like, no, like I get it. He had a gun to his back.
Yeah,
but like that doesn't mean he can just do whatever he wants. That doesn't mean he can just jump out of his car.
You got to save your life here.
Like it's, I don't know. It's just mind blowing.
Yeah. Well, he's basically arguing that the importance of the interests of the public at large outweigh those of the individual, even when they're acting in a manner that would save their life. And that's kind of I'm sure people could debate over whether that's, obviously that's what they're doing here, but
yeah, that's just almost like it's almost just like the trolley problem.
Yeah. Like you're talking about there's one person
on
or
one
three
side.
people. And,
yeah. This lowly chauffeur,
as
that's
he's
an
referred
exact
to.
quote. This lowly chauffeur got placed in one of the most difficult ethical problems anybody has ever,
this moral dilemma
that no one even knows the real answer to.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to sue him because he decided to save his life and almost hit someone.
Yeah. Well, thankfully the court disagreed with the plaintiff.
Right.
They were saying that they ultimately held that when an individual is faced with an emergency situation, such as somebody jumping in your cab, putting a gun to you and saying drive, that acts taken that under normal circumstances would be negligent may not be so in these circumstances, which I think is important. I think we shouldn't hold people in these, extreme circumstances to the same standard as, had they not been in them in the first place.
Yeah, I would agree. I just, again, the fact that they're even trying to say that that's not reasonable is, like, it's their job. I get it, but
yeah. So that's what happened, and that's what the court held, was that, I guess if we could wrap it up in a neat little bow, what the court held was that in an emergency situation, they're going to give you more lenience as to whether or not you're acting as a reasonably prudent person.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't mean you can do whatever. You want.
Yeah, but you have a little bit more leeway.
Right. But
Quotes.
How they said it.
Yes.
If you don't mind, I just want to start off with the very first part of the opinion.
Sure.
That Justice Carlin wrote here. Okay. So he says, this case presents the ordinary man, the problem child of the law, in a most bizarre setting. As a lowly chauffeur in defendant's employ, he became in a trice the protagonist in a breech-baiting drama with a denouement almost tragic. It appears that a man whose identity it would be indelicate to divulge was feloniously relieved of his portable goods by two nondescript highwaymen in an alley near 26th and 3rd Avenue, Manhattan. They induced him to relinquish his possession by a strong argument ad hominem couched in the convincing cant of the criminal and pressed at the point of a most persuasive pistol. That's a long way of saying that a chauffeur got put in a position because somebody else stole something with a gun.
Yeah. And then they said, not only did they phrased even just saying stole something with a gun, they said feloniously deprived him of his portable goods. Which
and relieved him of his... relieved him of his own possessions.
Yeah. Like very...
Dude, they stole.
Yeah. Like, it's almost like he was trying to fulfill a word count. Like, you're like, hey, this opinion has to meet this word. And he's like, oh, no. I've written like this before.
It's the classic, like, you need 500 words and you have 200 words. Have you seen the meme? 10 people died last night in a fire due to a fire last night in the Bronx. Have you ever seen that video? Yeah. It's a news lady and she goes, 10 people died last night 10 people died in a fire last night in the Bronx due to a fire last night in the Bronx.
Yes, thank you for that. Yes, so we could go forever reading these quotes, so I'm going to read a few more, but There are those who stem the turbulent current for bubble fame, or who bridge the yawning chasm with a leap for the leap's sake, or who outstare the sternest eyes that look outbrave the heart most daring on the earth, pluck the young sucking cubs from the she-bear, yea, mock the lion where he roars for prey, to win a fair lady, and these are the admiration of the generality of men. But they are made of sterner stuff than the ordinary man upon whom the law places no duty of emulation. What? So I had to read through that like 8 times, and I finally just
And what's it mean?
decided. It means basically they're saying that there are those who can act calm and collected when faced with this great danger, such as, what do they say, or plucking the young sucking cubs from the she-bear. However, there is no duty on the ordinary person to act with such calmness when faced with the same.
Right. So they're basically saying that if you're willing to go and take cubs from their mother bear, then you could not jump out of the car.
That's exactly. That's exactly.
So they didn't do that test. They didn't put him in a room with a mother bear and his cubs.
That'd be great if that's how they solve these issues.
Yeah, it's just like, what? Why are you saying it this way?
Yeah.
I also think they make. I don't know if this is him again, his writing, or if this is actually what happened. But whenever they're talking about the lowly chauffeur and this guy with the gun, at one point he goes on to say, so they're waiting in a standstill for the less colorful fare, and his passenger immediately advised him to stand not upon the order of his going, but to go at once, and added finality to his command by an appropriate gesture with a pistol addressed to his sacroiliac, which I had to look up because I don't know anything about anatomy, but that bone
Corbin actually pointed to his leg the other day and said, dude, my fingers are itchy. I was
Yeah.
like, buddy.
No,
Right.
but the sacroiliac is just a bone right above your ass. Is what it looked like whenever I Googled it. So, again, I don't know if that why'd he put a gun at his butt? But then he basically said, if you don't do what I'm going to tell you to do, you're going to lose your brains.
This guy has less of an understanding of human anatomy than you do.
Right?
He pointed a gun at this man's butt and said he was going to blow his brains out.
The chauffeur, in reluctant acquiescence, proceeded about 15 feet when his hair, like unto the quills of the fretful porcupine, was made to stand on end. And then he jumped out of the car. Is basically what happened. But yeah, I have one more. Sorry, I have one more quote just because it's just, I feel like they're trying to romanticize this crime that just happened.
Yeah.
It's a lot like Ted Bundy. Everybody talks about how he was beautiful, he was charming, he was smart. Like, they're just romanticizing this terrible thing that happened. So the holdup man, sensing his insecurity, suggested to the chauffeur that in the event there was the slightest lapse in obedience to his curt command, that he, the chauffeur, would suffer the loss of brains.
Brains?
Brains. So the guy jumps into the car, points the gun at the chauffeur's ass, and says, if you don't do what I tell you to do,
I'm
going to blow your brains out.
Yeah.
Wrong place. You're pointing the gun at the wrong area.
You don't really know anatomy, though, Corbin, and you've shown this time and time again. How do you know that this man...
It's just what it says, and I'm pretty sure that's not where the brain is.
I mean, I beg to differ, but, we can agree to disagree.
We can.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just amazing to me. They're using this language, which kind of just paints it as, this play that's going on. Everything's going to work out in the end. They're like this lowly chauffeur, and
which is offensive.
Yeah, very offensive. Yeah. And he appropriately put the gun to the guy's ass.
Yeah.
So
that would be terrible.
I don't get why he uses the word appropriately.
Could you? It's inappropriate. Could you imagine though? You're hanging out. That would be scarier than having a gun pointed at your face. I think if some like lunatic ran up and put a gun to your ass and was like, "You better do what I say." You'd be like, "Oh my god, this guy."
Well, in my opinion, that would be worse. Like,
Yeah.
Again, this is my opinion, guys. I don't know about you. I don't really ever want to be paralyzed. In my opinion, I think I would rather be dead than be paralyzed. And I'm not saying that's how everybody feels. This is my opinion. I'm not hating on anyone that's paralyzed or anything like that.
No, I know. I
just
anyone's taking it
I just don't want
to be paralyzed.
Yeah,
I think that's not, you don't have to apologize for that. You don't want to be paralyzed.
Yeah.
Who wants to be?
So it almost is more terrifying. Like, hey, if you don't do this, I'm just gonna paralyze you. I'm not gonna kill you.
Yeah. And I value my butt.
Yeah.
So like it really helps me get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
So I couldn't
literally sit all day long. So
yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. Those quotes to me just really romanticize this whole case and seem really strange to me.
So whenever you guys are going through this, if you haven't already, and you're in torts class and you're asked to read Cordas v. Peerless, and you're reading through it like I was going, what the hell am I reading? Turn on this episode and listen to it again and say, oh yeah, so this guy just, he was acting in an emergency situation. He wasn't negligent because of that. And there was, ultimately, the taxi company was found not to be liable at all.
Right.
You know, there was no damages to be awarded.
Which,
here.
again, is understandable.
Yeah.
I guess if you are listening to this while you're having to brief this for a law school class, probably don't talk about the gun pointing at the ass as much as we did. I just thought that was a
The professor's like, no, I want to rewind here. Let's focus on the gun pointed at the ass.
He was like, it's a very important topic.
It's very vital, yeah.
But yeah, that's really the case. I don't know how much more we can. I mean, we could read the whole opinion, and you guys could see all of these insane quotes.
Yeah.
But just read a Dr. Seuss book or something, Hamlet. I know Hamlet is not Dr. Seuss, but really, really, you're getting the same kind of.
If there's two books I could compare, or if there's two, I guess, pieces of literature, it would be Hamlet and Green Eggs and Ham. Yeah. They're very parallels.
They are.
All right, guys. Well, that is the episode. That's Cordas v. Peerless Transportation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I have nothing else to add.
No, I really don't, other than our usual. Follow us on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube. Send us any cases that you guys want. We're really trying our best to just keep up with new ideas every week. I know we're trying to find copyright. We're trying just any case. It doesn't have to be a tort. It doesn't have to be negligence.
Yeah, whatever.
So we're funny. We'll make it funny.
We'll make it funny.
So,
I wouldn't put that out there that we think we're funny, because then people are like, you guys aren't funny.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, you guys actually aren't funny. So
I'm like, shit, right.
But
like and subscribe on YouTube or Instagram, and just
have a good week.
Have a good week. Goodbye.